All right, all right. I'm recording. I'm recording. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to see where I should look. Should I look up there? I think that's where I look. I think, yeah, I need to look right there, right there, right there. Hello, everybody. God, just to stay focused on the front of this camera is not easy. I want to talk to you about a couple of things that really concerns me as it relates to what's going on in out here today, as it relates to relationships among men, and not only relationships among black men, but relationships among black men and our women, and relationships that we have with one another, and how our families have grown farther and farther apart. Not only are friends are very hard to find these days, but even relationships as it relates to, husbands and wives are divorcing, relationships, whether they be straight or gay, or not lasting. And there are situations that are happening out in our communities as it relates to drugs, as it relates to the high crime rate is higher than ever before. And what I mean by that, higher than ever before, I'm talking about our communities as it relates to us killing and hurting one another. And so there are a lot of marches going on as it relates to Black Lives Matters. There's a lot of things that are going on as it relates to people trying to address these issues in various cities through churches and other organizations that are trying to find a solution for the issues and the problems in our lives. And I think overall, number one, there's a lack of leadership. And I want everyone to understand that leadership no longer begins with one individual, but leadership begins with a group of individuals. Leadership begins with more than just one person now. It takes a family. It takes the old saying, a village, to make a difference in our communities today. And until we understand the importance of a village, we won't understand the importance of an individual, nor will we understand the importance of an individual's life. And so I just want to be able to share a couple of things of my views on what it's going to take to make a difference in our lives today. I want to talk about a couple of things that's going to, that can have a positive impact on what we do in the future, what we can do moving forward, is how we interact and how we love one another and how we respect one another. And it's going to take more than just words. It's going to take more than just promises, but it's going to take the will of a people to see a difference in their life. It's going to take a will of a people to be willing to not only march on the streets, but march in their homes. And when I talk about march, I'm not talking about a physical march with your legs, but I'm talking about with your mind first, your intellect. When you begin to put that intellect to work, when you begin to focus on the most important things in life, when you begin to understand the importance of balance between, having a spiritual relationship. I say often that every human being needs that balance of some spirituality in their lives. Now, that doesn't mean that you may not believe in the Christianity faith of Jesus, the Messiah, the Lord and the Savior. You may not believe in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, or whatever you believe that is bringing something positive to your life, that is building up your self-esteem and getting rid of those insecurities that has kept you back for so long. Whatever you're doing in your life to make your life better, then keep doing those things, because that's really what it's about. What is spirituality? Spirituality is about us becoming better individuals and better people. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be perfect, but what it does mean is that you acknowledge when you're not. And that's what makes the difference, is when one can acknowledge when they've made mistakes, when one can acknowledge when they hurt somebody else that they shouldn't have hurt, when someone can acknowledge that something that they said they shouldn't have said, when someone can acknowledge their past hadn't always been the best, is when you can begin to acknowledge the things that are shortcomings within yourself, and you can begin to look ahead and go move forward in your life and focus on those things that are most important. Then things can begin to happen in your life. So the first thing I want to talk about is relationships. I want to talk to you about relationships. Now, we realize it's getting hot outside. and it's getting hot outside, and that means a lot of clothing is going to start coming off. I'm just being honest. Let's be real. There are going to be a lot of women walking the streets now, showing everything. I mean, from the butts to their tits to every part of their bodies. I'm just calling it what it is. They're going to be individuals, men. They're going to be working out in the gym and stepping out and showing their biceps and their triceps and their abs and their muscles. And they're going to be people. They're going to try to look their best for the summer. But why do you think they're going to try to look their best for the summer? Because their goal and their objective is to draw attention. Their goal and objective is to get somebody to notice them and to look at them. But what that represents overall is insecurities. And see, when you don't love yourself, if the saying go, if you don't love yourself, I'm not going to say you can't love nobody else, but you can't love them effectively. You won't be able to love them and give them 100% of what they deserve if after they have given love to you. And then when we think about the divorce rate and when we think about relationships that break up, we got to ask ourselves the questions: why are so many relationships ending? Why are so many so easy to walk away from something that they put time into? Why are they so willing to say, I don't want this no more? I'd rather be single. I'd rather be by myself. Well, one thing is selfishness. Selfishness is what rules today. Selfishness is what causes individuals to not want to be together any longer. Selfishness, greed, selfishness, and lust can cause individuals to not want to be with the person that they have been with for maybe years or what they have been with for many months. They make the decisions, I don't want you no more. I don't want to be in this no more. Now, I can understand if you got an abusive situation, whether it be verbally or physically, then no one should be in a situation where they're accepting that type of behavior or that type of treatment. In those situations, it makes more sense to just walk away. But when you're in situations in a relationship where you have given your all for months and years at a time, and the only thing that is coming between you and that true reality of success is selfishness, then that can be addressed. Selfishness can be addressed. But we got to go back to the reality of that. Nobody is willing to make adjustments for their relationships. And another thing I want to talk about is that what draws you to that person in the first place? A lot of times people say, I'm not really concerned about the looks. The looks is not that important to me. I'm not really concerned about the body. The body is not that important to me. I'm really concerned about personality and character. Really? I mean, let's tell the truth. Let's look at social media. And if we look at social media, and if we look at all the pictures that are posted on social, the body takes, and women showing their bodies, men showing their bodies. Why do you think that is? Because human beings, that, as far as men is concerned, that's what draws first before anything else. What would draw a man to the first thing that draws a man is the physical, what he see, how it looks, how it appeals to him. Before he can even get to getting to know stage, he got to be attracted to you physically. And that's not a bad thing, because I think nobody wants to be with somebody they're not attracted to physically. So it's important that you are attracted to that person physically. But you got to understand something here. There are individuals that were attracted to each other physically are yet breaking up. And why is that the case? Because some are always looking for something better than what they have. The first thing you got to acknowledge and understand that no matter who you get or what you get, there's always something better than what you have. But the problem is what you have worse than what you think you're going to be getting? And that you won't know. I've always said that I know what I have, but I don't know what I'm going to be getting. Now, don't get me wrong. If what you got is not all that great, then you might want to take a chance and go for something else. But fight for what you want. Fight for what you believe in. Fight for something that's worth fighting for. If it's not worth fighting for, then yes, your decision might be to just let it go. But I want people to understand something. It's not that easy to just let it go. You see, that's one thing that we never really thought about. And that's why I think that we need to start taking these interactions and these relationships more serious than we've been taking them. And I'm going to tell you why. Every day, every year, every month that you give to someone else, that you invest in somebody else, that is time out of your life that you cannot get back. And every time you give yourself to that person for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, and all of a sudden it just started going downhill and you just walk away, that's 3 years of your life that you cannot get back. That's why people fight so hard to try to maintain what they have. Can you imagine how some women feel when they've been married to men 25 and 30 years and all of a sudden this man wants a divorce, or a male that have a wife that he was married to 25 or 30 years and all of a sudden she wants a divorce? Can you imagine the impact that has on somebody's life after they've given 25, 30 years to that individual? That's why we don't need to take relationships lightly. Because every time, every person that you get with, you're sharing of yourself to that person. You're giving of yourself. Every time you lay in the bed together, every time you're intimate, you're giving a part of yourself. And as time go on and on and on and on, every day you're giving a part of yourself. In every conversation, you're giving a part of yourself. In every transaction, you're giving a part of yourself. In every opportunity, every time you share finances, you're giving a part of yourself. And every time. And when kids get involved, it gets even worse. Because you have those memories every time you see that son or that daughter. Now, this is for everybody, whether you be homosexual or whether you be straight. Relationship is more than just saying, I do, I will. But relationship is understanding that you have to understand the balance between unity and independence. You can't be 100% independent in a relationship. And you can't be 100% unified in a relationship. There has to be a balance between independence and unity. And for those that are lonely and you're single and you desire a relationship, the question you have to ask yourself is this: why? Why do I want a relationship? Do I want a relationship because I'm lonely? Then that's not a good answer. If you want a relationship simply because you're lonely, you are already headed in the wrong direction. But you should want a relationship because you understand what that is and what that means. You should want a relationship because you understand that there's power in two more than there is one. And that you should understand that you are the kind of person that is ready and prepared to commit. And you're ready to fight for that relationship once it happens. You got to understand who you are as an individual before you enter into such an agreement. Because that's what a relationship is all about. A relationship is an agreement between two people that I'm going to be faithful to you and you only. That's what that means. That's why I don't understand when I hear stories about individuals that are in what they call open relationships. My question to you, if you're in an open relationship, are you really committed to each other? I mean, 100% committed to each other? I don't think so. I don't think you're 100% committed to each other. Because if you were, there would be no such thing as an open relationship. It's open because there's something missing. That's what you need to understand. I did a video on permission to cheat. And permission to cheat is just basically saying, you can step out and I've given you permission, or I've given you a card to go out and sleep with whomever you want to sleep with. And it won't affect me and it won't bother me because we got this understanding. But I don't understand that if this person you say you love and that you've been with them and that you shared a part of yourself to this person, but it wasn't good enough that you can focus on them and them alone, that you have to bring a third party into the equation. Why? See, nobody's willing to ask that question. Nobody's willing to ask that question. Why? Why are you willing to bring a third party into the equation? Why is it necessary that you sleep with someone else? Why is it necessary that you go out with somebody else? See, these individuals that are in open relationships never ask the question why. They never ask the other person, why do you want this? Why do you feel that this is necessary? Now, for those that may have asked that question, because I could be wrong, I'm sure your answer was, I want to keep the relationship hot. I want to keep it exciting. I want to keep it flowing. And I know the only way to do that is that we need to add a little spice onto our relationship by adding someone else in it. Really? Really? So in other words, what you're saying to the other person, or you're saying to each other, you're not hot enough. You don't keep me excited enough. You don't keep me interested enough. Because when I step outside that door, I'm always seeing something better than what I have at home. Even though I never experienced it, even though I never slept with them, even though I just see them from a distance and I like what I see, I've already passed judgment on my relationship. I've already passed judgment that what I have is not as good as what I can get. And so in order for me to keep what I have, or to feel good about what I have, or to be comfortable with what I have, I got to step outside and bring somebody else into the relationship so I can feel good about the relationship. Does that make sense to you? I want you to ask yourself the question, does that really make sense? Now, many may beg to differ with me because I've heard this before. Well, if you got two people that are in agreement and it works for them, why is it any concern to you? It's working for them. Why are you concerned about these individuals that have come to an agreement and it works for them? Really? The question is, does it really work for them? Or do you think it's worked for them? Because of the act that they put on in front of everybody. Because of the things that you might hear them say to you. You think it works. You think it's working fine for them. But you don't really know the truth. You just going by what you see and what you think, but you don't know the truth because you're not in their home. You're not in their bedroom. You're not there at night. You don't know what goes on when one is at work and one is at home. You don't know the truth. So of course you're going to think that. But let me be real. Let's be real here. Let's really, really, really be real here. If a man is full of lust, and if a man is not happy with what he has, then he's going to step out no matter what. And he's stepping out not because he wants to keep the relationship spicy and hot. He's stepping out for selfish reasons, for sexual gratification, to build up his ego and his pride. Has nothing to do with the relationship. And until we understand that fact, we will always be wandering in the wilderness trying to figure out why I can't find a good relationship. Why am I unable to find a good person to enter into my life that I can develop a healthy and meaningful relationship? You'll always be asking that question of why. And the reason why you'll always be asking that question of why, because you fall for these tricks. And these tricks is to deceive you and to have you thinking that this is the way you should go, because this is a better way. You should bring somebody else into the equation because it's a better way. But I say it again and I say it twice. Anybody that desires to bring a third party or fourth party or fifth party into their so-called relationship, it doesn't represent a healthy relationship. It represents a troubling relationship. And if they choose to be in that troubling relationship, then I agree with you. It's their choice. It's none of my business. But don't make it seem like it's something great and wonderful and a new thing today. And it really does what it's supposed to do for the relationship, because it really doesn't. It really doesn't do what many of them argue that it does, because it affected in a negative way. And eventually, believe it or not, they may still live together, but that doesn't mean that the relationship is still together. So I just want to address that. So I want to say to every one of you out there, it's a beautiful thing to be single, but it's also a beautiful thing to be in a relationship. There's no one better. Being single is no worse than being in a relationship. And I want us to understand that, because I think that the argument of today is nobody wants to be committed, nobody wants to date, and nobody wants a relationship these days. And I want to say to you that a relationship is a beautiful thing. And being single is a beautiful thing. So whatever which way you choose is a beautiful thing, but just be wise in how you choose a relationship. Because remember, the time that you invest in this person, you will not get it back. This is AJ Copeland. I want to thank you all for tuning in, those that did. I haven't got really used to the live. I know some of you might be waiting on me to go live Facebook. And I haven't got comfortable with that yet. I got to get to the point where I'm just comfortable in going live Facebook. So I'm going to kind of take my time on that. But I want you guys to remember to check out Identity Outreach Incorporated. And how you reach Identity Outreach Incorporated. You can reach us as Identified. You can reach us at identifyandconnect.org or trueselfmotivations.org. And let me tell you a little bit about what we're about. We are a membership organization, and our goal and objective is to help individuals to provide resources for individuals that are unemployed, or to become a marketing tool for individuals that are unemployed that have gifts and talents that they would like to use, many skills that they would like to use to create resources. We want to assist them into that. And also we have our spiritual and motivational resources where we have ministers, life coaches, and motivational coaches that assist you in your needs of life, just your overall life, whether you need counseling and advice or motivating or whatever the case might be. We have ministers, counselors, and life coaches that are motivational coaches that will help you in those areas. And of course, I am a life coach and motivational coach as well, and a motivational speaker. So I want everybody to know that Identity Outreach Incorporated is here to help and assist in whatever way is possible. And I thank you guys. Please tune in. Again, check us out at Identity Outreach Incorporated. That's identifyandconnect.org or trueselfmotivations.org. And I thank you guys that have been hitting up my videos in the past or whatever the case might be. You guys have a great day, and I hope to see you again. And always remember, during your free time, catch a topic or two. Later.